guys! Our group is assigned to discuss all the things about the legal manner in operating a museum prior to the national, local, and international legislation. So, go get a pen and jot down all the details and enjoy the video. Museum must conform fully to international, regional, national, and local legislation and treaty obligations. In addition, the governing body should comply with any legally binding trust or conditions relating to any aspects of the museums, its collections, and operations.
Local legislation refers to a set of laws that apply to specific municipalities or group alone. This legislation may not necessarily be contained in the entire country, constitution, or source of law, but may be derived from the local traditions. Example of local municipality where the museum is located. All museums should conform to all national and local laws to respect the legislation of the government as they affect their operation.
Hi everyone, let's talk about ICOM. So what is ICOM? When was it created? ICOM is International Council of Museums. It was created in 1946. It is the only international organization representing museums and museums professionals on global level. It is an international non-government organization maintaining formal relation with UNESCO. The legal manner of ICOM. First, museum preserve, interpret, and promote the natural and cultural inheritance of humanity. Museums are responsible for the tangible and intangible natural and cultural heritage. Governing bodies and those concerned with the strategic direction and oversight of museums have a primary responsibility to protect and promote this heritage as well as the human, physical, and financial resources made available for that purpose. Second, museums that maintain collections hold them in trust for the benefit of society and its development. Museums have the duty to acquire, preserve, and promote their collections as a contribution to safeguarding the natural, cultural, and scientific heritage. Their collections are significant public inheritance, have a special position in law, and are protected by international legislation. Inherent in the public trust is the notions of stewardship that includes rightful ownership, permanence, documentation, accessibility, and responsible disposal. Third, museums hold primary evidence for establishing and furthering knowledge. Museums have particular responsibilities to all for the care, accessibility, and interpretation of primary evidence collected and held in their collections. Fourth, museums provide opportunities for the appreciation, understanding, and promotion of the natural and cultural heritage. Museums have an important duty to develop their educational role and attract wider audiences from the community, locality, or group they serve. Interaction with the constituent community and promotion of their heritage is an integral part of the educational role of the museum. Fifth, museums hold resources that provide opportunities for other public services and benefits. Museums utilize a wide variety of specialism, skills, and physical resources that have a far broader application than in the museum. This may lead to shared resources or the provision of services as an extension of the museum's activities. This should be organized in such a way that they do not compromise the museum's stated mission. Sixth, museums works in close collaboration with the communities from which their collections originate as well as those they serve.
Museum collections reflect the cultural and natural heritage of the communities from which they have been derived. As such, they have a character beyond that of the ordinary property, which may include strong affinities with national, regional, local, ethnic, religious, or political identity.
Seventh, museums operate in a legal manner. 8. Museums operate in a professional manner.
As a university student of tourism, we know for a fact that in any place we go, whether it is a city, a rural community, even to a province, a particular district, or any country, there lies a very traditional norm and a culture.
As we try to go places, we will often see monument, museum, historical artifacts that are kept in very high security for presentation and preservation purposes.
And so that being said, in any culture, there will always be an object of cultural reference. But if you come to think of it, those objects of cultural and historical reference has one place of risk. And when those are times, when those objects were at risk for destruction during war.
During those times, where countries are at conflict with another territory, there was a fear that not only we see traditional objects will destroy, the high possibility that we lose them will mean to lose a historical identity.
The 1954 Hague Convention has basically an international treaty who formulated rules to protect it, as well as the scientific collection to mark a protective sites to be identified as an exceptionally important cultural property under special protection.
Hello guys, good day. So, this topic is all about laws regarding the Convention on the Means of Prohibiting and Preventing the Illicit Import, Export, and Transfer of Ownership of Cultural Property, or the UNESCO 1970.
At the end of the 1960s and in the beginning of 1970s, thefts were increasing both museums and archaeological sites, particularly in the countries of the South. In the North, private collectors and sometimes official institutions were increasingly offered objects that have been illegally imported or were of undefined origin.
This convention insists that it is necessary upon various states to protect the cultural properties existing within its territories against dangers of thefts, hidden excavation, and illicit imports. According to UNESCO, cultural property constitutes one of the basic elements of civilization and natural culture, and its true value can be appreciated only in relation to the fullest possible information regarding its own origin, history, traditional settings. It will be time-consuming if we are going to discuss all of the information of the 26 articles that build to this convention, so I'll just cite some of the important articles.
That the state parties recognize the illicit import, export, and owner of the cultural property is one of the main causes of the impoverishment of the cultural heritage of its country of origin. Conducts that such activity affected contrary to the provision adopted under this convention shall be illicit or unlawful.
Cultural property should be taken care of, and it should not be owned by other people for public good. It is a public property, so we have to take care of responsibility and taking care of these things.
The export of any specimen of a species shall require the prior grant and presentation of an export permit. An export permit shall only be granted when the following conditions have been met. To get the export certificate. Granted re-export certificate.
The Convention on Biological Diversity, known informally as the Biodiversity Convention, is an international legally binding treaty. The convention has three main goals.
In other words, its objective is to develop national strategies for the conservation and sustainable use of biological diversity It is often seen as the key document regarding sustainable development.
The convention recognized that ecosystem species and genes must be used for the benefit of humans. However, this should be done in a way and at a rate that does not lead to the long-term decline of biological diversity. Importantly, the convention is legally binding countries that join are obliged to implement its provision.
Adopted by the UNESCO General Conference on November 2, 2001, hereafter the 2001 Convention is an international treaty.
The background cultural heritage on land has in the last decades benefited from national international protection.
The cultural treasures in danger of pillaging and destruction are immense. Over 3 million undiscovered shipwrecks are estimated to be spread across the ocean floor.
The Convention for the Safeguarding of Intangible Cultural Heritage is a UNESCO treaty adopted by the UNESCO General Conference on 17 October 2003. The convention entered into force in 2006 after the 13th instrument of ratification by UNESCO member states. As of August 2013, 155 states have ratified the convention. That means the convention works on both national and international levels. At the national level, state parties are supposed to take necessary measures, include identification of intangible cultural heritage that exists in its territory, adoption of appropriate policies, promotion of education, and so on. Besides, in taking these measures, each state parties must endeavor to ensure the widest possible participation of communities, groups, and where appropriate, individuals that create, maintain, and transmit such heritage, and to involve them actively in its management.
Here, we will be ending this discussion. Thank you.
Think tank composed of 31 international committees ulit.
Go! Game na. Isa na lang legislation. Nalilito kasi ako dito eh. Isa pa